Çok değerli basın mensupları.
Distinguished members of the press, today in Ankara and at the premises of our ministry, we are hosting the NATO Secretary General, Mr. Jens Stoltenberg. It's a great pleasure for me to see him in our country once again. This is his 7th visit to Turkey since he took office, and this is an indication of the importance he shows to Turkey as an ally. We have supported his reappointment to this post, and I would like to wish him all the success in his new term, which will last for 3 years. And I would like to tell him that we will keep supporting him and we will stand by him in his activities. This visit is also a preparatory visit for the NATO summit to be held on the 11th and 12th of July in Brussels. We have discussed some possible agenda items of the NATO summit together with our colleagues. And we are expecting the NATO summit to make important decisions as regards counter-terrorism, and we expect the reconfirmation of enlargement policy in this summit, Macedonia, Bosnia-Herzegovina, and Georgia. The necessary processes need be started for their inclusion in the NATO. So Turkey supports their inclusion and is for the enlargement of NATO. In your presence, I would like to extend my gratitude to Mr. Stoltenberg for his support to Turkey, not only because of statements he made while coming here, but because of the objective and balanced statements he made since he took office, and because of his support to Turkey in terms of counter-terrorism. He visited our country in the aftermath of the attempted coup, and not only then, but at other times as well. He's aware of the threats Turkey is facing, and he's telling this to the entire world, and we would like to thank him. Of course, we expect more support from NATO to our counter-terrorism efforts. The threat should not only come from one bloc or one country. NATO has been established in order to protect its allies against threats. So regardless of the source of threat, wherever the threat comes, NATO we have to work with NATO to support and protect the allies. Taking into account the threats that some allies face is unacceptable. Then there is no need for an alliance. There is no sense in this alliance. And we're fighting against all terrorist organizations. And we are against discrimination and double standards in counterterrorism. Whatever its name is, whatever its ideology or their ideology is, we need to fight against all terrorist organizations with a collective understanding. And we know that Mr. Secretary General has the same understanding, and I would like to thank him once again. And we hope and wish that other allies think accordingly like this as well. And counterterrorism is going to be one of the most important agenda items of the NATO summit. PKK, Daesh, PYD, YPG, FETÖ, Al-Nusra, whatever the name is, Turkey will keep fighting against terrorist organizations. We are an important, significant member of NATO. We have contributed to NATO more than others, and at least as others in some areas. We're going to be supporting NATO's foreign missions in the upcoming period, and we will do our best in order to support all NATO activities. The unity, the integrity of NATO is important. It is important that NATO is strong, but similarly, NATO has to meet Turkey's expectations. Our expectations about air defense system, we expect them to be met as well. So we have discussed all these issues today. Mr. Stoltenberg met the Minister of Defense in the morning, and in the afternoon he will be received by the President. Throughout the day we're going to discuss Turkey-NATO relations and regional issues. And today in our meeting we discussed the situation in Syria, Iraq and Libya, which are regional issues. And the training activities by NATO to reinforce the training capabilities of countries suffering terrorism is something that we support, and it is also has been a great pleasure to find the opportunity to discuss regional issues as well. So I would like to welcome you once again, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Minister Çavusoglu, my dear friend Mevlüt. It is really great to be back here in Ankara, and as you said, this is my 7th visit to Ankara, and it's hardly any other NATO country I've visited so many times as Turkey. And thank you for your hospitality and your warm welcome to me and my delegation. We just had a very good meeting and an excellent lunch where we addressed a wide range of different issues. My many visits to Ankara reflects the deeply valued role your country plays in the NATO alliance. And Turkey contributes to our shared security in many different ways. You are an ally which plays a key role in the alliance, and I thank you for your many contributions. You make essential contributions to NATO operations and to the fight against Daesh. Our AWACS surveillance aircraft fly from Konya in support of the global coalition to defeat Daesh. Turkey also helps to build stability abroad by playing a lead role in Afghanistan, with hundreds of troops in our rescue support mission in Afghanistan, and Turkey also helps with funding for the Afghan national army and security forces. Turkey is contributing to the NATO mission in Kosovo, and you actively support our training activities in Iraq. So Turkey really does a lot for our alliance, despite facing serious security challenges. No other NATO ally has suffered as many terrorist attacks as Turkey. And you are the ally most exposed to instability in this region. Turkey generously hosts more than 3.5 million refugees, but you do not stand alone. NATO stands with you in solidarity. Our Article 5 security guarantee is at the core of the alliance, one for all and all for one. We support Turkey with assurance measures, including AWACS surveillance aircraft, naval patrols and exercises. We have deployed air and missile defense systems in Turkey since 2013, helping to protect Turkish border against threats from Syria. This deployment has been extended again this year at Turkey's request. You are also part of NATO's missile defense system with an essential radar based here in Turkey. Our land command in Izmir is also part of NATO's presence in Turkey. And over many years, NATO has provided billions in funding for military infrastructure to Turkey. So NATO is important for Turkey, and Turkey is important for NATO, and that's the strength of the alliance, 29 allies standing together, protecting each other. Today we had a good discussion on our preparations for the Brussels summit of NATO leaders in July. For 7 decades, NATO has been able to protect our citizens based on our values, democracy, the rule of law and individual liberty. Since 2014, NATO has implemented the greatest reinforcement of our collective defense since the end of the Cold War. with more forces with higher readiness, stronger cyber and missile defenses, and increasing defense spending. We have also redoubled our efforts to fight terrorism, including by bolstering our mission in Afghanistan with strong support from Turkey. And we are stepping up our support for other partners as well. At the summit in July, we plan to launch a NATO training mission in Iraq, helping local forces to stabilize their own country and prevent international terrorist threats like Daesh from coming back. I count on Turkish support to launch the mission and on Turkish future contributions to the mission. We also discussed the situation in Syria. Minister Çavusoglu briefed me on Operation Olive Branch, and I'm grateful for Turkey's continued transparency on this. We addressed the horrendous attack with chemical weapons in Douma. The North Atlantic Council met at the weekend to be updated on the joint military actions by NATO allies, France, the United Kingdom and the United States, to degrade the chemical weapons capabilities of the Syrian regime and to deter further such attacks. NATO strongly condemns the repeated use of chemical weapons by the Syrian regime as a threat to international peace and security. Those responsible must be held accountable, and we must do all we can to protect the international ban on the use of chemical weapons. There is no military solution to this conflict. Therefore, NATO fully supports the efforts led by the United Nations to achieve a lasting political solution to the conflict in Syria. So, Mevlüt, once again, thank you for excellent discussions. Thank you for receiving me, and I'm looking forward to continue to work with you.
Thank you, Jens.